This Pilsner took nearly 5 minutes to pour, and when I finally tasted it, I got banana and clove. Not citrus, not pine, banana and clove. So, has AHA created one of Romania's most unusual Pilsners, or did this bottle decide to become a Weissbier somewhere on its journey to Wales? Stick around, because I'll score it properly, and I've also got a Romanian Drinks discount for you at the end. This is AHA Craft Beer Pilsner, a 4.5% unpasteurised Romanian craft beer in a proper 500ml bottle. Before we go any further, a massive thank you to RomanianDrinks.co.uk for sending me a massive selection of Romanian beers to review. They supplied the beers free of charge, but they haven't paid me, approved this review, or had any influence over what I'm about to say. Thanks also to AHA themselves for confirming how I'm supposed to pronounce their name. It's AHA, like the band. It isn't AHA, like I'm reading out somebody's registration plate. The label keeps the recipe fairly mysterious. It lists malt, water, hops and yeast, but there are no named hop varieties, malt varieties, bitterness figures or tasting notes. Romanian Drinks provides far more information. They describe it as clean and refreshing, with delicate malt, floral and citrus accents, subtle mint and pine, pleasant bitterness and a crisp finish. That sounds like a fairly recognisable Pilsner. What entered my glass was something rather different. First, the pour. The beer was properly chilled, but the room was approaching 40 degrees because Britain had apparently been relocated inside Satan's greenhouse. The temperature difference might have encouraged some extra foaming, particularly if the glass was warm. But this head wasn't merely enthusiastic, it was trying to escape. It took me around 5 minutes to pour the full bottle without the foam climbing out of the glass. Once it eventually settled, though, it looked cracking. Hazy golden beer, plenty of visible carbonation and a thick white head. It's cloudier than I'd normally expect from a Pilsner, but this is unpasteurised craft beer, so some yeast and haze aren't automatically bad things. Then came the flavour. Instead of the clean malt, floral citrus and crisp finish described by Romanian Drinks, I got banana-like fruitiness and a clove-like spice. Those are classic Weissbier characteristics. They're normally created by fermentation compounds associated with expressive wheat beer yeast, and they aren't flavours I'd expect to dominate a clean Pilsner. Here's the strange bit. I didn't dislike them. They give the beer plenty of character and make it far more memorable than another anonymous bottle of fizzy yellow lager. The body's excellent too. It feels substantial, smooth and satisfying rather than thin or watery. But I can't ignore the style written on the label. Transportation may have disturbed sediment and put more yeast back into suspension. Because the beer is unpasteurised, continued fermentation could potentially explain the excessive carbonation and stronger yeast character. I'm not declaring the beer infected or faulty based on one bottle. That would be unfair and scientifically about as reliable as diagnosing a broken leg by licking someone's shoe. I can only review what came out of this particular bottle. Beer people, I want your thoughts in the comments. If a Pilsner gives you banana, clove, haze and enough foam to insulate a loft, are you intrigued or are you sending it back? And would you judge it purely on enjoyment or mark it down for missing the style? On my beer scorecard, AHA Pilsner gets 7 out of 10. The bottle design looks brilliant, the beer eventually looked excellent in the glass, and the mouthfeel was spot on. It lost points because the flavour wasn't quite good enough for my top mark, and it didn't resemble the clean, crisp Pilsner described by the seller. That said, 7 out of 10 is still a good score. I enjoyed drinking it, and I'd happily try another bottle or a different batch to discover whether this unusual character was intentional or something that developed along the way. If AHA believes this bottle wasn't representative, I'd genuinely love to compare it with a fresh one. So feel free to get in touch if you're watching, and I know you are. If you fancy exploring Romanian beer for yourself, head over to romaniandrinks.co.uk and use the discount code THEHOPPERREVIEWS for 10% off your order. I'll put the direct link and all the details in the description and pinned comment. Is it a textbook Pilsner? No. Is it boring? Not a fucking chance. Hopper out!
Hopper out, motherfuckers.